patient therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruits of the earth, and has long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. Take, my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Lord, with an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure. You have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful, and of tender mercy. But above all things, my brethren, swear not neither by heaven, neither by earth, neither by any other oath, but let your yea be yea, and your nay be nay, lest you fall into condemnation.
Our subject for the coming weeks is Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. So, there we are. I fooled you there, didn't I? You know, from the book of James. There we are. But lovely reading. Above all, my brethren, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or with any other oath, but let your yes be yes, and your no be no, lest you fall into judgment. I just wanted to have a little look at, I just titled it Gleanings from Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. Tonight we look at Ezekiel's calling, Isaiah's calling, and we work through in the evenings for the three of them that met with the Lord in such wonderful ways. But today we just do a little comparison between them. I don't know how you take, how it'll fit in, but hopefully it'll be of help. I know many of those that intend or set out intendedly to read Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel, and very often they pull out from it. They find that they can't get into it at all. It does help if you're able to acquaint yourself with Kings and Chronicles first, just to get a little picture of the history background. It does help a little. I don't say it answers everything, but it does help you to be aware of the kings at that time. And so we'll find as we go along, we'll look at some instances. We won't just deal with the meetings that the three of them had with the Lord. We'll look at some subjects that they brought up. Some of them, all three brought the subjects up. On other occasions, we'll look at verses or chapters that really stand out in the book. So there we are. I don't think I'll be doing Gog of Magog for those of you that have read Ezekiel. But I recommend a sermon for you, Paul Olson from the 1960s. Listen to him, and it's Gog, When Russia Will Attack Israel. Here we go. There we are. Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. Certainly for Jeremiah and Ezekiel, it's very apparent that they were born into the priesthood family. Isaiah, we can't really glean much. It's worth remembering, though, in Isaiah's day, the first king that he prophesied under was a man called Uzziah. He's Isaiah, he's Uzziah, the king. And Uzziah entered into the temple and was struck with leprosy because he trespassed. He found himself where he ought not to be. And so the Lord struck him. And it seems from it, whilst he was a very godly king in his early days, at 16 years of age, he became king. And through that time, Israel prospered. But then at this point in his life where he felt that he was important enough to be able to enter into the sanctuary and make offerings to God, he found that he was found wanting. And it seems he never really recovered from it. Because it says this at the end of Chronicles, he died a leper. He died a leper, which is a very sad case in that respect. His son, Jotham, took over and reigned for 16 years. And again, it's a very sad case. It says concerning Jotham, he did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as his father did, except that he did not go into the temple to trespass. But the people did yet more wickedly. And I think that sums up in many ways the generation that we live in, I know many a person that do things that are right in the eyes of the Lord, but we find that the people continue to do wickedly. There's nothing wrong with Jotham's testimony. In fact, his testimony is one that we would, I suppose, appreciate today. But in the light of the atmosphere that we live in today, it's well worth looking at those things. But Isaiah, bearing in mind with Uzziah what happened to him, when Uzziah was in the temple, he would have been trespassing if he was not of priestly blood. I'm not going to argue that he was a priest. I'm just saying that both Jeremiah and Ezekiel definitely were belonging to the priesthood. The opening verses of each book will tell you that. We would assume from the account that Isaiah gives that he is probably of the priesthood. But we're not going to live or die on it, are we? It's not going to change our lives. But certainly for the other two, they were destined for great things. They were destined for a secure future. They would have been nurtured and they would have been taught on becoming a priest. But God had different ideas. He had different ideas for them. And so we find with these three that their priestly office, with a question mark on Isaiah's position, their priestly office, it would have been their destiny. It's what they would have been brought up to be. They would have been taught, they would have been nurtured, they would have been given examples, they would have had heritage in the sense that my forefather and this forefather, and he could have traced it right the way back to the days of Moses and Aaron, to show that they were belonging to the Levitical priesthood. But you see, God had different ideas for them. And people might make plans for you. You'll see it on the sports field very, very often. You'll see many a man and many a dad making plans for their children. And they live out their dreams through their children. And the hope that they'll be this or they'll be that. And you see it so very often in that type of arena, but so much so as well within the church arena. Plans for this, plans for that. But maybe God got different ideas about what your destiny is. Maybe He's got something in mind that you're not aware of at this moment. And everything is geared to go one way. But the Lord is saying, wait a minute, what about me? What about me? What about my thoughts? Isaiah was called in the temple. Jeremiah was called in his youth. Ezekiel was called in captivity. You see, there is such a range of circumstances that God can work through. There is nothing that turns around and is able to say, with hands up, you cannot enter at this point. He has this wonderful ability. If you're in the right place at the right time, as far as the temple is concerned, He can call you there. You can be in your youth with no knowledge of what the future might hold for you, but He can meet you there. You can be in captivity, separated from the very things that are dear to your soul, with a group of people that are broken and shattered and see no hope of victory at all. And God can call to you there. It's a marvelous thing what God can do. It's a wonderful thing. I went to visit someone the other day, and in the reading in the morning, the reading of that day was something that is so relevant. Tell me this, when you're meeting a man that is past being an octogenarian, and you're there talking to him, tell me how the book of Jeremiah fits into his lifetime. And yet we sat there talking, and I felt within my own soul as I was just reading the book, just going through the chapters that were allotted to me that day. And he was telling me that he felt caged, that he couldn't get out, he couldn't express himself. And I gave him this word. The word of the Lord came to Jeremiah whilst he was in prison. You see, it's a marvelous thing what God can do. You can be in captivity, you see. You can be in chains. And then I said to him another thing. Because it didn't just set him free then. In fact, it got worse. But it says then, the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah a second time whilst he was in the prison. It's a marvelous thing what God can do, see. You think you've got to be doing the right thing at the right time. You've got to be in some sort of position of perfection that allows you to hear the voice of God. We hear of Moses. Well, before Moses, Jacob was sleeping. That's where he heard the call of God. Fast asleep. Sometimes our minds are so active, he's got to wait for us to go to sleep first before he can speak to us. I found the times that I've been most distant from God are the times when normally I get a dream. And it's normally because my mind is filled with so many things that do not concern the Lord. He spoke to him in a dream. We find with Moses, he's up on the mountain. He's amongst his sheep herding. We find with Gideon that he's threshing wheat or threshing corn. We find with, who's the other guy? Elisha, that he's ploughing in a field. We find with Amos that he's picking sycamore fruit. That's not very nice, is it? Sycamore fruit. I'm sure it probably means tangerines. But you see, there's no set way. There's no set boundaries. The God of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was yet in Mesopotamia. And Stephen used that as the basis of his sermon to say God works outside of the boundaries of the land. And he uses 3 examples. Moses in Sinai, he finds that there. And so we find so many things here that God is able to move. He saw him in the temple, Jeremiah in his youth, and Ezekiel in captivity. How varied then the callings of God to our hearts. Where are you today? Are you in the temple? Are you in your youth? Are you in captivity? Are you an old man that feels that it's done and dusted? No more to offer. Are you a young man who, like the thief, had nothing to offer at all, yet Christ still called him? We see with Isaiah that he saw his glory. With Jeremiah, he heard his voice. We see with Ezekiel that he saw his glory. In case you think that Jeremiah's ministry was belittled because of that, no, he saw a number of visions, it would seem. Isaiah had but one vision as far as I can. No, I think the writer is wrong there, because I'm sure it says the vision that came to Isaiah concerning the nations around them. But generally people say Isaiah had one vision. But he did say this in Isaiah 8. He says, the word of the Lord came to me with a strong hand. And it means with mighty power. It stopped him in his tracks. Stopped him in his tracks. You see, the Lord has a wonderful way of communicating to different people in different ways. How he communicates with you is not necessarily going to be the way he communicates with me and you likewise. Whether it be by vision or whether it be a still small voice or whether it be thunder and lightning on the mountain, they are so varied the ways that God deals with people. Even their relationships were different. Isaiah was married. His wife was a prophetess. His wife and himself and his children were signs to the land of Israel, signs to the people. It would seem collectively, looking at Isaiah's life, that his was a happy home in the sense of everything. The wife was there, he was there, and the children were there. And all signs working like that. Jeremiah was told not to marry. And that was to be a sign. Ezekiel was married, and his wife died. And he was told not to mourn, because that would be a sign to the people. And so we find that God moves in this mysterious way of being able to deal with a family that is there. 2.2, I think that's what they call it, isn't it? On the TV program, 2.2 or 2.3 or whatever it was. And so we have that with Isaiah. With Jeremiah, he used to live a life, single, alone, completely dedicated to the Lord. But that was to be a sign to Israel. And then for Ezekiel, who would become a widower. And the Lord still met with him and was able to bring him through. So we find that their relationships at home were different. All three spoke to the people, but they lived them out. All three of them did. Unlike Jonah, Jonah went to a people afar off. And in Jeremiah and Ezekiel in particular are told especially that the people that you speak to, they will not believe you. With Isaiah, we are told that he speaks to people who have eyes but do not see, who have ears that do not hear, and who have hearts but do not perceive. He writes, or in his vision, when he speaks to the Lord, he says, "How long shall this be?" he said, "till there's nothing left." We find with Jeremiah that he is told that they will fight with you. They will literally fight with you because of the words you've spoken. A king whose princes were taken aback by what Jeremiah had penned. When the king heard of it, he asked for the folder to be given to him. And the scripture says he took a knife and tore across it and threw it into the fire. They will fight with you. He was imprisoned. He was mocked. He was laughed. They will fight with you. With Ezekiel, they will not listen to you. You say, how long for? Isaiah, I'm rounding these figures up or rounding them down, whichever way you want to look at it. 60 years. 60 years of speaking to a people that did not understand what he was talking about, that did not listen and did not see. For 60 years. We speak of great is thy faithfulness, but there have been saints that have been faithful down. Imagine living under that for 60 years, that the people don't want to listen to you. Or worse, in one sense, I don't know what's the worst, they haven't a clue what you're talking about. We find out a little bit more with Isaiah tonight. We find with Jeremiah that they will fight against you. Rounding it up, rounding it down, not sure. 50 years. 50 years. Ezekiel, they were told they won't listen to you. I'm sending you to a people of your own language, of your own speech, of your own culture. You'll be able to speak to them directly. And they will not listen to you. Around about, from what I can work out from the book, about 30 years. Take, my brethren, the prophets, for an example of suffering and patience. Jesus said concerning himself and concerning those around him, a prophet is not without honor, save in his own country. Imagine living under that type of ministry. It's your ministry. You know, I've gone to visit people in my younger days, and when I was walking through the door, they'd be lying on the settee and would turn and face the wall. They would turn and face the wall. And I kept going. You see, you don't give up on these things. You don't give up. There are times perhaps when you turn around and say, okay, I can do no more. But there is a grace that God is able to place within the believer's heart to remain true, to remain faithful, to endure to the end. And that's what these three men did. With all the trials and tribulations that they had, they brought a message of judgment, yes, but they brought a message of hope as well. This is what Isaiah said. God's going to do a new thing that he's never done before. I wonder how many times he could say that, you know. How many times he could say that the Lord, these prophets are so, I'll be honest with you, I could not cope with these prophets. I think I'm on the same level with you. If I can't cope with them, I don't think you'd be able to cope with them. What would you do if I came tonight and burst out in song, and that would be my sermon? And yes, that's what Isaiah did in chapter 5. Just a precursor that is explained further in Isaiah 6. He breaks out in a song. He sings as a woman would sing, because he says, I will sing of my beloved. So he's putting himself in the place of the bride. And he brings in this song a parable. And there Isaiah just does these things. We read of other things that they did, but he said this, God's going to do a new thing. There's going to be a new king with a new kingdom and a new heaven and a new earth. All the old things are going to pass away. And he brought this message. With Jeremiah, we're told with him that he brought messages of judgment, but then there were echoes of mercy as well. Because he says there's going to be a new agreement, a new covenant that's not going to fail this time. A covenant that will last forever. I will forgive their sins and remember them no more. They'll never be recalled, never again. And so the problem that the Jews had in their day, on the Day of Atonement, looking back over the year that's gone, they would always be reminded of their sins upon sins upon sins, year in and year out. But God said, no, it's coming a new agreement now, a new agreement where I'll not remember their sins anymore. I'll put them, as Isaiah says, in the sea of forgetfulness. How can God forget? And yet he does. Ezekiel says, listen now, you've heard about this new kingdom, this new world to live in. You've heard about this new agreement. I want to tell you what you need to get in there. He talked to them about a new heart and a new spirit that would set them free. Never to leave the kingdom again. You could leave the borders of Israel if you wanted to. You'd still be in the kingdom. You could be in far-off Timbuktu if you wanted to be, but you're still in the kingdom. What you need is a new heart and a new spirit. And be washed with waters that are fresh and clean, that are able to do those things. Well, that's just a precursor for these things that we're looking at with Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. Have you got a new heart? Have you got a new spirit? Do you want to live in that new world where everything will be new? I think someone said this morning, I forget what it was, something about heaven, Glennis, talking about the temperatures in heaven. It will be just right. Just right. But listen what the psalmist says. The wicked shall not stand in the congregation of the righteous. It would be unbearable to be in that kingdom. It would be unbearable to be in that world unless you have a new heart and a new spirit on the new agreement and in that new world with that new king that reigns supreme. Jesus is king, and I will extol him. Give him the glory and honor his name. Will you do that this morning? You're seeking a new heart. You're seeking a new spirit. Listen, we've got something here you can rest your heart and spirit on. It's called the New Covenant, where he'll not remember your sins. I'll forgive them, and they'll never be brought back to you again. You condemn yourself. He's got no need to condemn us. I've not come to condemn you, he said. I've come to save you. But the number of people that feel condemned when Jesus came, you notice that in the Gospels. Number of people that feel condemned when he first comes. But he sets them